Okay, I should be recording. I am recording. Yay! Okay. Oh, I remembered my password. Y'all, that was amazing. Okay. I think I have everything up. And it is 9 o'clock. Hey, hey, I'm not doing too bad. Okay. Good. 12. This is everybody. Yay! Okay. So welcome back, because it's all familiar faces. I'm so happy to see everyone. It is so nice. I love this class. I have to tell y'all that I absolutely and utterly love this class because I know exactly what y'all know because I taught y'all before, right? And it's really, really, really interesting because we're going to take all the things we learned in Biochem 1 and then we're going to apply them to basically the body's metabolism. And by the end of the semester, we'll be able to look at metabolism as a whole. And it's going to be so awesome. So this is really, really helpful if you're going to any anything, right? Especially med school, but pre-anything. Okay, or if you're just a biochemist and just love biochemistry, you know, I don't know anybody like that, right? So as always, I start every class with a joke. So this one, Charles really liked. We modified it a little bit to make it fit us. So what did the mama buffalo tell her son when she dropped him off at school? Bye, son. All right. So I want to really quickly go over a few things on the syllabus. And then the beginning of this class, it's so important that you retain what we did in Biochem 1, that we're actually going to kind of review chapter 11, which was what? Remember what the guys said? Oxidative phosphorylation. So it was basically the end of the electron transport chain. It was, we did ATP synthase, right? But we didn't talk about control. We didn't talk about the different shuttle systems. So what we're going to kind of do today is review chapter 11, which I think is usually a good idea. Because it's like, oh my God, that's been months ago, right? And then we'll finish chapter 11. And I have some activities for you and things like that. So I know that this class is an hour and a half long. And if you had to sit and listen to me lecture for an hour and a half, you wouldn't want to come to class, right? I wouldn't want to come to class. So every day we have lecture and something else. We're always going to have something else. And we might do something, then a little lecture, then something else. It might be in between, but we'll mix it up. We'll do different things. Okay. So don't freak out and say, oh my God, I'm gonna have to sit for an hour and a half. You're not, I promise you're not. Okay, so this is our Moodle page. So if you want to jump on the Moodle page, just so that you can kind of follow along, it's up to you. But it's structured really similar to when you had me in Biochem 1. So anything, announcements, anything goes in here. General course questions for y'all didn't use this very much in Biochem 1, but I'd like for us to use it a little bit more in Biochem 2. So let's say you're doing a homework and like you get stuck, like it's a modeling question. It's a really frustrating question. Trust me, if you're frustrated with it, you're not the only one. Post something in the general course questions forum that says, hey, I'm really struggling on this one. Anybody got any tips? I will see it. And if I go in and look at it and there's maybe an error in it, I can reply back and say, oh, do this, do that, whatever it is. And if it's not, then you have the whole class as a, hey, I tried this. Hey, I did that. I'm not saying that you have to do your homework in isolation, okay? Or even your reading quizzes. Don't do them in isolation, right? You have your friends. Use them, okay? Use the book, use your friends. This is the homework and the reading quizzes, and I'm using my air quotes. They're for you to learn before you get to the exam. Okay. So, all right. let's see, our Zoom meeting. So we are face to face. If you are on quarantine, if you are sick with anything, right? This is where you will go. If you want to join the Zoom to have, because you want to stay in your pajamas on Thursday, the answer is no. There's a waiting room. And so I only admit people through the waiting room who have previously contacted me and said, hey, this is going on. And I say yes. Okay. So you can come to class in your pajamas. I don't care. All right. There's a new COVID reporting form. So if you have close contact with somebody who tests positive, if you test positive, this is where you go to report that. So it's a Google form, just like it was last semester. All right. Oh, let me do the student view so that you see exactly what. So I'll project exactly what you see. I forgot to do this because there's a teacher view and there's a student. Okay, so I'll switch to the student. All right. So we did this. All right. So general course materials. Before I do this, is anybody doing the opt-in to the book bundle? Anybody? Yes?
I don't have them. Yes, I'm doing the book bundle.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to get with our publisher. I sent them an email, but I still haven't heard back. It has to be a little bit different setup, so I might have to mess around with that. Yes, ma'am. So you will have to have an access code, but I think the access codes that y'all bought last through this semester as well.
Because I still have access to my textbooks.
Correct.
So if we took American 1 like 2 years ago, we gotta rebuy it again.
Send me an email and I will see what I can do. I can't make promises. I can't make promises, but I can ask the publisher, hey, these guys didn't take it sequentially, but can we give them access because they purchased the same thing as everybody else? They just didn't take it sequentially. I can ask. I can't make promises, but I promise I will ask.
That's the same thing.
So then you might not want to do the book bundle. So please, right now, send me an email. Even if you're on your phone, send me an email that says, Dr. B, it's sarah.bajeron at nichols.edu. No. Well, I mean, you don't have to. At Nichols.
It's showing much.
What's not showing? You purchased it two semesters ago or 3 semesters ago, something like that? Yeah, okay. So send me an email that says, I purchased the book a couple of semesters ago. Can we get access this semester? And I will check, okay? And if it takes us a while to do it, I'll extend the due date for chapter 11 homework, whatever it is, don't freak out, okay? Okay.
So I can't buy it.
I don't know yet. My answer is I don't know.
Okay.
Don't waste your money until I ask. Please don't waste your money until I ask. Okay? Because I don't want y'all paying for things you don't need to pay for.
Well, it doesn't show it online anyway. So.
Yeah, you probably don't see it. It's not available to you. So let me ask before you buy it.
Okay.
Okay? So everybody send me an email who didn't take me last semester, the very last semester. Okay. All right. There's a seating chart. So if you click the link to the seating chart, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's only going to go to 6. So I got to clear. Ooh, I went too far. I didn't know how many chairs were in here. Can I delete? I want to sort range. Oh, I'm view only. I need to sign in. Hold on, I need to sign in. It's so many different things to sign into. And don't worry, the first like few days is a review, so we're not really behind. Don't worry. And everything's a, oh, I hate that. You don't have access to this page. What? Resend it. do not have access to this page. Yes, I do. I created this page. Let me see. Check your device, maybe on my iPad, but let me do it on my iPad. Let me try that. Oh, well. Open the Gmail app. Happens. Okay. So let me see files. Like this is so ridiculous that I can't get into my own stuff. Okay, seating chart here. Anyone with the link can edit. Okay. All right, so now let's try and refresh it and see if it works. Seating chart. So we're only going 6, right? That's what we said. Delete rows. Okay. Because it's 6, 1, and then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to delete this. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, no, I'm doing the wrong way. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first row, this is the first row. So there's only 4 in the first row. There's 2, 3, 4, 5 in the second row. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 6. Y'all good? So this is row, I guess I should have numbered them the other way around. I don't know why I did it that way. And then we don't have this. Sorry, y'all. Okay. So right here, Brooke is in the first row. Yeah. And then you're in row E or C. So type it in right up there. Okay. So y'all good now? Now y'all know where y'all at? No. So you, Sam, are right here. You're row B. I thought there was an additional row, but there was not. So you're row B. I'll renumber them, but Sam's right here. You 1, 2, 3. Right? So type in the yellow box. Yes. Victoria, you're over 1 row.
Yeah, it's backwards.
Okay. Look, I'm just gonna move you. There you go.
Oh, perfect.
Yep. Taylor's right.
Oh, I can't.
There you go. Yeah. Francis is right. Yep. Y'all good now? Now we know where we're going. Chloe's right. Madison's right. Yes. Sam's right. Yes, yes, yes.
That's gonna be awkward.
What's right? What's awkward? Oh, it's for me. It's like, it's not backwards for me. I know.
So I'm
But you can always look up here and see, okay, there's the door. Where's, I'm editing the wrong thing. There's the door. Oh, the door's over here. Because I'm crazy.
That's what I was confused.
I'm crazy. That's here. The door is over here. Yeah, like that. That's right. Yeah. Brooke, where's,
Figure it out.
yeah, Brooke's right. Yep.
Works. I'm
Hey. Okay, good. Now we good? All right. Okay, so remember, these are your seats for forever. like through the end of the semester. I hope you like them. I really hope you like them. All right, so we did our seating chart, right? We're just kind of going through this real quick. I just want to show you a few things. So I know in the bookstore, it says that it's the second edition, the pink one that's required. Right here, I have the first edition, but that's because either one's fine. Either one is fine. If you have a hard copy of either one, do not go and buy the other one. Don't, okay? And if you were in my class last semester, you should have gotten the second one. So whatever access you have should roll over through this semester for homework and stuff like that.
Are we doing the clicker free?
We're only doing clicker for attendance, and we're going to do that next.
Okay.
We will do that next. But either one for the textbook, whatever hard copy you have first or second is fine. It's absolutely fine. Okay. It'll just be access. And everybody sent me an email who cannot access it right now. Right. Okay. All right. So this class is just a little bit different in terms of what's required. So just like last semester in Biochem 1, we had homeworks, right? We had reading quizzes. That's the same. But in this class, we're also going to have case studies where you're actually going to have a patient. You're going to get a background about that patient. You're going to try to figure out what's going on with them, how it relates to some kind of metabolism, because that's what all of this is about. And then you're going to do this in groups, and then groups are going to take turns presenting. So I'll go over that in a little bit more detail. And then we'll have exams. Now, the exams for this class are not like the exams for Biochem 1. Biochem 1 was multiple choice, fill in the blank, problems, discussion, right? This one is pretty much all discussion. And some people are like, yay, that's awesome. And some people are like, oh my God. But you'll see we'll do a lot of discussion in class and you'll adjust. It is a little bit of an adjustment. So I'd like to tell you all that first in the front, but it's absolutely something that you can do. Sometimes I give you a figure, one from the book that we've discussed a lot in class. And I want you to explain what's going on in the figure. Or I give you a scenario and you tell me biochemically what's going on, right? So don't freak out. My number one thing, don't ever freak out. You're going to adjust and we're going to do practice in class, okay? All right. So if you want to look at, oh, and they pushed drop day back. That's another big pointer. Did you notice that in all your class syllabi? Drop day got pushed back to Tuesday the 12th. So it's much later in the semester, which I think is really good for y'all, So we have 3 regular exams and 1 final exam for a total of 4 exams, which will comprise 60% of your grade. Your homeworks are going to be 15%, your quizzes are 10%, and then your case studies are 15%. So basically what I did from Biochem 1 is put a little less weight on the exams, and the weight that I took away, I put into case studies. Okay, we're going to talk about those in a minute. And it's a 10-point scale. If you're a graduating senior, this is really, really important that you follow these instructions. Anybody a graduating senior? Yes. Okay. So right here, this is for you. Make sure that you check with your advisor, check with the department head this month to make sure that your application is in and they can see it and everything's good. Okay. All right. Let's see. Come and see me if you have problems. Come and see me early on, right? Don't come see me. You can come see me the day before the test, yes, but that's not going to be very helpful. If you struggle, if you're studying and you know you're struggling, come see me for help, please, please, early. All right, and the rest of it you can kind of read through. I think there's nothing else super, super important, but this is kind of our path that we're going to take and kind of the breakdown. I like to look at it on the calendar. Here's our class calendar. So you kind of know what's going on. See if I can zoom out a little bit. Okay, got it. So you have the topic of what we're going to cover on each of the days so that you can go in your textbook and you can go and read before you come to class. I'm telling you, it's extremely important that you read before you come to class. So technically, what should you have read before you came to class today? Chapter 11. But you kind of read chapter 11, right? I would go back and skim, and then I would really read sections 4 and 5, right? Because that's kind of where we're going to end up. So I really gave us 2 days to catch up. And then look, photosynthesis, I'm only given about a day and a half because it's it's plants, right? I'm not a plant person. It's not going to be a lot on the MCAT. It's not going to be a lot on your professional exams. It's just not. So it's an important concept, and we'll talk about it throughout the semester, but it's not super important. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. Yeah, we're going to focus mainly on animals. Yes, yes. So then you can see exactly where our case studies are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow you guys to get into groups of 4. It is COVID, so I am allowing you to pick your groups. So I don't need the groups today. I would like to have your groups by Thursday. And then Thursday, you also need to pick which case study your group wants to do. Okay, I will pick names out of a hat on which group gets to pick first. And they can give me their preferential choice of which one they want. So you might want to rank them, you know, get together with your group to figure out who your group members are, then get together with your group and say, okay, let's rank them. We want to go, our preferred thing is to go first for case study 1. Then if we can't get that, we want to do the last one or whatever. I don't care. And then I'll pick names from a hat and let y'all choose. Okay.
So we're picking the number.
Like which case study you want to do. There are 4 because there are 4 groups. So case study 1's on metabolism, kind of in general, it's a good intro. Case study 2 is on glycogen metabolism specifically. Case study 3 is fatty acid metabolism. And then case study 4 is amino acid metabolism. Okay. So it's about every 2 weeks, about every 2 to 3 weeks, we have a case study. And so I'm going to talk about how we're going to run that. But basically by next time, I need who you want to be in your groups and then ranked which ones you want to do. Because these have to be done on these days because we have to cover the material for it before you can do a case study about it. Okay, make sense? Okay. All right. So read. Oh, this was a really good suggestion that somebody had from last semester. This is really detailed, right? This class is really detailed. It is. And it's a cumulative final exam. It's going to be a lot to study for your cumulative final exam. So one thing that you can do as we're going through the semester is to create for yourself like a chapter study guide. Because if you do it for every single chapter, when you get to the end, what do you have for yourself? A cumulative study guide done, right? So it allows you to go back and easily review the concepts that we really focused on, right? Because just like in Biochem 1, I might tell you, hey guys, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on, you know, this one little thing, right? So that's not going to be on your study guide and it's not going to be on the final exam. Okay. So it's a really good, but start today. Start today. You know, don't let that catch you. Okay. All right. So we have that. So let's go back here. Oh, not that one. I want to be, it's just too many things at the top. All right. So case study information. So I'm going to post the case studies later today. You just have the names on there. You don't have the PDFs yet. I'm going to post them later today. And inside the case study, there are questions as you go, and then there are questions at the end. So what you're going to do is you are going to read the case study. You are going to go individually and figure out the answers to all the questions. And you're going to come to class with all those completed questions, right? And you're going to answer them. So you have to come to class prepared. It is not just the presenter's responsibility for knowing what's in the case study. Every single person in here is going to have to tackle the case study and answer all the questions that are inside of it. Now, You have to type them. You have to type them in complete sentences. And then you bring 2 copies to class. You get to keep one and I get to keep one, right? So that you have the answers as somebody's presenting. Because whatever group is up here is going to present, they're going to give some background information. They're going to tell you about the patient. Then they're going to present the answers, right? But how do you know if they're right or wrong if you don't have your answers in front of you, right? So you're going to be required to participate in a discussion after they do their presentation. So you have to have that ready. So you answer the questions that are within the case study, you answer the questions at the end, and then you come up with your own question. You have to have a question to ask the presenters. Okay. And I don't want a lot on the slides. I don't care if you go over, I said 5 to 10 slides. I don't care if you go over the slide content, the slide total, whatever, 5 to 10, the maximum, but I don't want words all over the slide. You don't have to have every single word. You're going to have to address every question that's in the case study, but do you have to type out every single word of your answer? No, maybe I want a picture to illustrate, oh, this is what the person's cells look like, right? What's the morphology? If the question is, what's the morphology of the cells of a person with this disorder? Well, I don't need to type it. I can just slap a picture, right? That kind of stuff. And if you want my help with it, you're welcome to come and bring it to me early and say, this is what we were kind of thinking, that kind of thing. It's fine. All right. So let's see. And then you have to use at least 3 outside sources and cite your sources. Okay. Y'all know how to cite. I know y'all know how to cite. Yeah. There at the end of the case study, I actually give you a few recommendations, but you don't have to take those recommendations. You can use any outside source. Like if you take a picture from someplace, that counts as a source. As long as it's cited neatly, I don't really care. I don't really care. If you have all the information and it's consistent, I don't care what format you use. Yeah. All right. So your presentation is going to be evaluated using this rubric. I'm giving you exactly what I'm going to grade you on. This is the form I'm going to have in front of me as I am grading. So take a look at it and make sure that you address everything inside the rubric. I think it's very important that y'all have how I'm going to grade you before we do anything. Right? Okay. And then these are the case studies, right? These are the 4 so that you can go in and decide which ones you want to do. And if you want to know where they are, anytime it's in blue, it links you to the calendar. So you can go and check the calendar for dates, right? So I'm going to grade each individual person on the paper that they turn in that has their questions and answers on it, right? And you don't have to type the questions. You know, I'm not into y'all typing for an hour. So just type the answers. Like if you number them, and actually I might go in and do that. I actually wanted to do that last semester. I will go in and number them, and then you just have to put the number and put your answer. So you don't have to do that. So it's basically 1 point per question. Then you get 2 points for your question that you present, you ask the presenters. And then if you participate in the discussion, you get 5 points. Okay. So if you're the group presenting, you will have those points, plus you're going to have 30 points for your presentation. So each group will present 1 time and they'll get 30 points for that. So you'll get your case study, and I'll have to add these in because I didn't type them in, but I'll add them in today. So all the case study stuff will be posted today, and I'll send y'all an email. And that's it. Questions? Yes.
Are you going to be recording all of your lectures?
I am recording them. I am recording them. Do y'all want them? I'm not doing this for my lower level classes. I'm not. But because then they just wouldn't come to class. But do y'all want me to post the recording every day like I did last semester? Yes. Okay. I will do that for y'all. Yes. I'm not doing that for my lower level classes, so don't tell my 109, my 208 classes that I'm doing that, because I'm not. But for you guys, I understand it's nice to be able to go back and what did we talk about and that kind of thing.
Like slow it down or speed it up.
Right. And I don't have any pre-recorded lectures like I did in Biochem 1. So all we have is what's in class. Okay. All right. Anything else? Good. Okay. So last thing is, where do you go and get the slides that I'm going to show in class? You click on that link, and I don't know which y'all prefer, 4 slides per page, 1 slide per page, whatever it is, it's there. So by chapter. Okay. All right. And then these are the textbook links, but they won't work unless you already have access. And so we're going to work on that for y'all. But do y'all have a hard copy or not yet? No. Okay, so I'm going to do the best I can. And if you don't have a textbook right now, can you send me an email and I will at least scan? Need to pause the recording. I will get you something to read. Okay. So send me an email right now that says I don't currently have the textbook. I need reading material for chapter 11.
Okay, I don't know if this is because of the access code, but like if I click on the link,
Uh-huh.
it says access denied, your instructor has not completed the setup for this class. Tells me that as well.
And it's set up, I assign the homeworks. I'm gonna have to look into it. Would you stay after and we'll play with it? Stay after and we'll play with it. Absolutely. Because it should be. Okay, but just like before, for each of the individual chapters, I have our learning objectives, I have our flashcards, our lecture notes, it's all there, okay? So anything you need is here. All right, so that's all the setup. Slides. Good? Questions? And if it's like a class question, like you're like, Dr. B, have you posted the case study stuff? You can put that in the class discussion so that everybody will know when I'm posting the case study stuff, which will be today. But yeah. Okay. Oh, last thing is that we have attendance. The way that I'm doing attendance is here in iClicker. So has everyone used iClicker before? Yes, because you were in my class. So you have to go and search for my new class because you're not in Biochem 1 anymore. You have to go on iClicker and search for the new class. So I will leave this up and running all class period. Try and figure it out as we're going. And if you can't for today, I have a sign-in sheet. So at the end of class, if you don't see your name on this list, sign in on the sign-in sheet. Okay. And I'll remind you at the end of class of that. And if you can't, I'll help you. Okay. All right, so that's just gonna keep running in the background, and I'll pull it up. They'll remind me. I'll pull it up again so y'all can check and make sure your names are on it. Okay. So anything else on Moodle? I think that's it for Moodle. Okay. So the first thing that I want to do is a little handout that will remind you of oxidative phosphorylation. Really nice on this one, I even told you what sections the questions come from. So even if you just have like your notes from last semester, that would be really good. That'd be really good. So we're supposed to stay as far apart as possible, right? Don't lower your mask to talk to your neighbors. But I want y'all to work together. So we have a much smaller class. So what I want y'all to do is be able to turn and talk to your neighbors and go through these together. All right. So I want to go over these real quick with y'all just to give you a nice refresher, right? So look at number 1. Oxidative phosphorylation depends on a proton circuit that translocates protons back and forth across mitochondrial intermembrane through specific transmembrane protein complexes. Name 3 ways to inhibit oxidative phosphorylation. I want you to think big picture for this one. So right next to it, big picture. So what are the big general things that you can inhibit? Okay, big picture. I'm not thinking details. Not like this individual enzyme, that individual enzyme. Big picture. Okay, and that's from section 1. 2, what is the key role of coenzyme Q in the electron transport system? So kind of big picture again. what's Q doing? What's Q's big role? How does proton flow through the ATP synthase? Complex drive ATP synthesis, right? Another good big picture. These should be kind of remembering that motor and how it cranks and how it turns and that kind of stuff, right? Now, number 4, and we're going to stop at number 4. We're going to save number 5 for later. Number 4, we did this in Biochem 1, if you remember. Make a diagram that accounts for the production of ATP from one molecule of glucose. I think this was the final exam question, right? It was one of the options that I said. But it is so super important, and it's going to really lead us into section 4. It's really going to lead us into section 4. So I'm giving you these little refreshers. I gave you a little more detail here. It's been a while. Remember, you're going to make 32 ATP in the liver, but only 30 in the muscle, right? So you can produce, this is another one, a little nice little hint I'm giving you. You can make 5 ATP from 2 NADH, but only 3 ATP from 2 FADH2, right? So when you're drawing this diagram, make sure you tell me what's in the cytosol, what's in the mitochondria, right? Because that's going to be really important. And then once you get that mapped out, what molecules, now that you've done the whole cycle, what needs to be pumped into or out of mitochondrial matrix? That's kind of where we end, is the mitochondrial matrix. So what needs to be pumped in and out? Because that's going to be really important for section 4. And then why does glucose oxidation in muscle cells produce some number fewer ATP than in liver cells? Okay. So 1 through 4, I want y'all to work together. Turn and talk. I don't care if you move chairs. As long as at the end of class, we move them back. And everybody cover your nose and mouth with your face mask.
Do you want the answers on this page?
I don't care where, this is for you. You're never going to turn these activity things in, but like they're super helpful for the exam. Okay? You're not going to turn these in. It could be in Messy, wherever, on your iPad, whatever. Yes.
And then for the exam, will you specify if you want like a big picture answer? Or
Yeah.
do you assume
Oh, yeah. No. I'm absolutely going to give you direction on that. And it'll be similar. The exam, I know I said it's all free response, but like if I had these 5 exams, questions on the exam, I would say pick 2, pick 3. So that you could do that. Oh, I really know this. But yeah, I'm not so sure about that. It gives you a little bit more leeway. Okay, so that'll be there for every exam. Okay, good. All right, so y'all want to jump in and try? I know it's been a while. So turn your chairs, make friends. Y'all should know pretty much everybody. Right? And I don't care how many are in a group. It doesn't matter to me. Somewhat. Go back and look at, you can pull up those slides, you can go back to your old notes, you can pull up your textbook, right? Use any resources you need. And then we're all going to come back together and discuss. Y'all don't rat on me that we move chairs, all right? Oh, yeah. Oh my God, so good. So good. You have time to try yourself. You have your partners, you have your textbooks, you have your notes. Yeah. No. That's why. Because it's been so long. And I know we all need a refresher. So it's okay. Don't freak out. It's okay. Yeah, like I know that. We're not going to remember all this stuff. It's okay. But like your Biochem 1 stuff is going to be super helpful. You know, for where you are right now. When was your first semester? My first semester was, you remember the semester that everything got shut down and y'all got sent home? And then we came back on hybrid.
Yeah.
I started on hybrid. Okay, yeah. So that was my very first semester. There's nothing wrong with that. And if y'all, do you have the text? You don't have the textbook, huh? Yeah, so, I'm gonna pull up mine. I'm gonna pull up the textbook on my iPad and give it to y'all so that y'all can pull it up.
Francis was in the last one, so he might have it, but.
I think the last question, I don't know.
Really?
It says like you need to set up like.
Set up, like I signed the homeworks. I had the, I don't know. I'll figure it out today.
Yeah, I can't even open up the textbook myself.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So here's the textbook.
That would increase the production. That would place the backup way too into like an exhibit backup.
Yep, that's like.
You want something, I mean, you know.
All these comments are true. Pump it out like crazy until it like it's all that.
So another one.
It will slow the production. Because an ATP in itself is an inhibitor to the cell.
Pinch the thing over your nose. There you go.
I've been trying to do that, but it's still.
Sometimes if you pinch it and then put it, like,
Oh, just pinch it?
yeah. And then it'll.
I'm like,
Well, just adjust it when you need to. Okay, so it says.
I'm sorry. But yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause the recording while everybody's working together. I'm gonna pause this. Just remind me, resume. Okay, I know, sorry. Okay, so you can inhibit any complex. This is complex 1, complex 2, complex 3, complex 4. What was complex 5? ATP synthase. So we'll just say 1 through 5, right? If you inhibit any of those, what's gonna happen to oxidative phosphorylation? Right? It stops. So you could say inhibit any complex, you could say and ATP synthase if you want to do it that way. Synthase. So that would give you 1, 2 ways, and we'll do this as 4 because that's how we kind of do it. All right, so that's 2 big ways. What else? But that inhibiting any one of these does disturb the proton gradient. So that's saying the same thing. What else enters the electron transport chain? What enters the electron transport chain? NADH, FADH, 2, right? Okay, so what happens if you don't have those things?
No electron transport.
You don't have any electrons. These are our electron carrying molecules that are going to take our electrons from citrate, from glycolysis, and put it into the electron transport chain. If you don't have those initial starting materials, are you going to have oxidative phosphorylation? Nope. So our big general 3 is going to be to have not enough NADH or FADH2, right?
What if you have too much NAD plus, right?
So that's basically saying the same thing as this. But yeah, so AKA, you could write it underneath AKA too much NAD plus FAD. It's always going to be a ratio.
get the ratio, the flux ratio.
It's always going to be a ratio of one to the other. So if this is low, this is high. If this is high, this is low. Right? So how do we do on that one? Pretty good? Good. Okay. Okay. And like you could go into tons more detail about that, right? Tons more detail, but we're not doing that right now. All right. So what's the key role of coenzyme Q?
Transport electrons.
From 1 and 2 to
Okay, so it shuttles electrons from what?
1 and 2.
From 1 to 3, from 2 to 3. Is that it?
Well, it transports 2 electrons.
Pairs, right? Shuttles pairs of electrons, yes. Do y'all remember when we were talking about the very beginning of chapter 11, and we said that Q does some really crazy stuff, right? It doesn't just accept electrons. Let me see, where did I put that? Maybe when we were talking about Q in section 3, I think it was, we were talking about Q. Where else do electrons come from to go to Q? No, those are complexes. There's another thing. The G3P shuttle, right? Glycerol 3-phosphate shuttle, and it's going to take it to 3. And there's another one
Oh, the fatty acid one?
from fatty acids. ETF, excuse me. And we'll talk more about that later. But do you see how Q is not just picking up from the electron transport chain? Q is picking up from other places as well. That's really important to remember for this next section. Did y'all remember that? No? That's okay. But you had these, right? You had these two. Okay, so we're building on top of what we already know. I didn't talk a whole lot about this in Biochem 1, because we weren't really going to get to it yet. So it's okay. Yeah? All right. Okay, so then what was our third one? Like, where are we? Okay. How does proton flow through the ATP synthase complex drive ATP synthesis? So my big question here is what happens when I have protons that come through? Conformational changes, right? I'm telling you what drives XYZ, conformational changes. 9 times out of 10, it's conformational changes, right? So this is number 3. So proton flow drives conformational changes. So where do those conformational changes occur? So the majority of them, right? It does turn the rotor, right? But then that rotor bumps along in the alpha beta, right? You remember the catalytic subunit? And beta is really what changes. So what effect do those conformational changes have on the beta subunit? So we're just going to say beta for now. Yes, there are other conformational changes that occur, but the one that is the end point is our beta subunits. So what happens in the beta subunit? So you have affinity changes, right? So you have really 3 conformations, right? What are the 3 conformations? So, yep. So I would say loose, tight, open, because that's the order. What happens in loose?
ATP is released and you get ADP and intergenic phosphate to come in.
So open, you're releasing ATP, right? So then in loose, we're binding,
ADP and phosphate.
and then tight, we bind,
It makes a,
right, we make,
would that be like a
ATP.
transition state?
so yeah, y'all remember that now? Yeah. Y'all are doing so good, I'm so proud. Okay, so the last one, any questions on that one? So how long does it take, how many degrees does it take to make one ATP? You have to make 3 conformational changes. So that's 360 degrees because each of these is 120, right? So from here to here is 120, here to here is 120, and then here to here is 124, 360. Good? All right. So did everybody remember this picture?
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Well, basically this picture, right? So the important thing is that you have things that occur in the cytosol, and then you have things that occur in the matrix, right? And if y'all want me to post this, I can post this. Yeah, okay. I need to write that. If I don't write it down, it's never gonna happen, so I'll post it. Post ATP breakdown. Okay, so we have glucose. What process takes glucose to pyruvate? That's glycolysis, right? So you might want to add that, right? Oh, I guess I put it there. Okay, so we have glycolysis. We make 2-pyruvate. What's our other product? NADH, but where is it? In the cytosol. Well, that's crap, right? So what do we have to do? We have to get it into the mitochondrial matrix to make ATP, but not all cells do that the same way. So we have liver cells and we have muscle cells, and they do it differently, right? So if you're in a liver cell, you're going to make 5 ATP. If you're in a muscle cell, you're going to make 3. Why? Are they the same shuttle systems? No. One's the malate shuttle system. One is the glycerol 3-phosphate shuttle system. So tomorrow, Thursday, we're going to talk about how they're different. That's what we're going to cover, okay? And why that is. So you have a difference of 2 ATP here. That's why when you do the total down here, liver has 32, muscle has only 30. Okay. You also make 2 ATP from glycolysis, and they're in the cytosol, so you get 2 ATP. That's great, right? Now we take these 2-pyruvate, we transport it to, it's in the cytosol into the mitochondrial matrix. So we convert using pyruvate dehydrogenase our pyruvate into acetyl-CoA. You also produce 2 NAD. Now these 2 NAD, do we have to worry about what cell type we're in? Why? We're in the matrix. So it is going to enter the full electron transport chain. That insinuates, is the muscle NADH that's in the cytosol going through the full electron transport chain? For some reason, it's not. And that's why they're different. Okay, and that's what we'll talk about next time. Okay, so we're going to make 5 ATP from our 2 NADH. We have acetyl-CoA, 2 acetyl-CoA. They're going to go through what? Well, citrate cycle, and then through the full electron transport chain to create 6 NADH, so that's 15, 2 FADH2. So you're going to make how many? Okay, do you notice this similarity here? If we're in muscle, we're only making 3 ATP. If we're FADH2, we're only making 3 ATP. So can you guess what happens in muscle cells to this NADH that's in the cytosol? Exactly. Exactly. Great, you guys. Awesome. Also in citrate, we make 2 GTP. Those 2 GTP are ATP equivalents, right? And that gives us our total. Okay on that? Isn't that really interesting? Okay, so we're gonna talk about that next. But the last question was, what has to be transported in and out? And I'm gonna post this. You don't have to take a picture. I'm gonna post it for you. What did we just make? We made all these ATPs, but where are they? We're still in the matrix. So we have to do what? Shuttle them out. Okay, so let me scroll down. So ATP is going to have to go out. What else? So NAD plus will have to go out. Or be recycled something, right? And we'll talk about how that works. So if we're going lines of NAD plus, then we also need to say FAD has to go out. Right? I'm trying to think about all the out things. Now talk to me about in things. ADP and inorganic phosphate have to go in. What else has to come in? NADH, FADH2, and these both have to go in. So that's going to be really important next time we meet, because we're going to figure out how these things go in and out and how these things get exchanged. That's what we're talking about next time. And then how the overall thing is regulated. Yep. So it's important to recognize that we have to do the exchange before understanding how the exchange happens. Right? Make sense? Okay, how y'all feeling? Good. I think y'all did great. I think y'all did absolutely great. Absolutely great.
I thought I would have forgotten everything, but
You did. It's still there. It's still there. All right. So I'm going to work on the book, the textbook stuff. I'll post the case studies. I'll post this diagram up here. And if you think of anything else, shoot me an email. And I'll the reading material for chapter 11. And you send me an email. It'll take me a little bit.
That's fine. Really useful.
He has my Moodle on here.
Okay. Y'all have a good rest of your day.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I love this class. All right, let me end this.